Hey everybody, I am so excited to bring to you Feature Friday today because I'm going to talk to you about a tomato that I have never tried before, but I am so excited to try it. It is called Brad's Atomic Grape Tomato. Now this tomato has so many colors in it, it will just blow your mind. It has reds, it has oranges, it has an olive green color in it. It even has lavender colors through it, bluish black colors. It will just blow your mind to see what this tomato looks like. And I will put a picture in right here so you don't have to wait to see what it looks like. If you are going to buy this tomato from seed and start it from seed, then you'll need to start it indoors about 4 to 8 weeks, I think it is, before the last frost date. Brad's Atomic Grape is like cherry tomatoes, except it's bigger. It's more of a grape to a plum-sized tomato. Very prolific, very delicious, and you'll need to give it the same care that you would any other tomato. You'll need to put it in full sun, a minimum of 6 to 8 hours. You'll need to support it because it does get big. It is an indeterminate variety, so it will keep growing and growing until the end of the season or until disease takes it out. Yes, you can put it in a container, but just make sure that you take into consideration that this plant is going to need to be fed for quite a while, so you'll need to get a good sized container. You may even need to use some fertilizer or amend the soil at some point if it's not a very big pot. So keep all of those things in mind. You can also trim this tomato. Some people say not to trim the cherry tomatoes, and some people say to trim. It's up to you, and it depends on what you're looking for. If you want more tomatoes and you are willing to sacrifice a little bit of flavor, then sure, don't trim your tomatoes. Let them grow wild. Let them do what they do naturally. But if you want more flavor in your tomatoes, even though you are sacrificing the number of tomatoes that you get, then keep it trimmed back a little bit. Don't let it take off and just do whatever it wants to do. You manage it instead of it managing itself. Brad's Atomic Grape Tomato was discovered by Brad Gates of Wild Boar Farms, and he is a genius when it comes to putting different varieties of tomatoes together and coming up with some of the most beautiful, most flavorful tomatoes you've ever seen in your life. This tomato won Best in Show in 2017 at the National Heirloom Expo, and Baker Creek Seeds, which is where I get a lot of my seeds, say that it is their favorite tomato ever. Here are what my Brad's Atomic Grape tomatoes look like right now. So mine are not very big. I have several, as you can see, but I will separate these and put each one of them in their own pot before much longer. These have been going for probably a little over 2 weeks. And I did start these a little bit later than I did some of the others, but that's okay. They will catch up and they will produce just fine. It takes these tomatoes about 75 days to mature to the point that you are ready to pluck a tomato off of it. Because of the wild color variation of these tomatoes, you think that it's ripe, and it's not really ripe because of the color. So they begin to have an orange, yellowish color to them whenever they are ripe. But one thing about tomatoes that I love is you don't just have to go by color. You can just barely squeeze the tomato, and if it is soft like a tomato should be, and if you've ever eaten a tomato, you know when it's soft and you know what a tomato should feel like, and whenever it is soft is whenever you should pick it. So you can't always go by the color. The shoulders of this tomato will get that real dark blue color wherever the sun touches it at. As a matter of fact, if it is going to be like the black strawberry tomato, it will get the bluish black on even the stems and the leaves wherever the sun hits it at. I was looking at the black strawberry the other day, and it had the most beautiful dark really, really dark bluish black colors in the leaves, and it was just gorgeous. So anyway, that is the Brad's Atomic Grape, and I'm really excited to grow that this year. Another one that I'm going to talk to you about today is not another tomato, but another feature Friday item I'm going to talk to you about is the Habanada pepper. And the Habanada is the non-hot version of the habanero. So if you are like me and the habanero is a little hot for you, then you may want to try the habanada. So you're still going to get that sweet citrus tropical flavor that the habanero has without the heat. And there are a lot of people that really love to eat peppers that cannot tolerate the heat. And even though I love to eat the stuff that is hot, the habanero is a little too hot for me. But I do love those underlying citrusy, sweet, tropical flavors that you find in the habanero. So the habanada was discovered by some horticulturalists, that's hard to say, at the University of New Mexico that they had stumbled on a habanero pepper breed that did not have any heat at all. And so what they'd done is they took those and they began to breed them with other peppers that were hot until they came up with a variety that tasted delicious and also had no heat. And I think they said it took them like 13 generations before they finally got something that was acceptable. And acceptable it is. Everybody that has tried it loves it. It's fairly new in the farmers market, but it is supposed to be very delicious, and I am so excited to try it this year. So I wanted to do the habanado and the Nottapino together because it's kind of the same concept. So the Nottapino is the non-hot version of the jalapeno. So again, it's the same concept. It is the same thing as a jalapeno without the heat. So for those that feel left out whenever you go to a party and they have the little jalapeno poppers and you can't eat them because you don't like the heat or because the heat gives you heartburn, now you're not going to be left out anymore. So just like the jalapeno, these mature to a green color first, and then if you leave them on the vine long enough, they will eventually mature to the red color, just like the jalapeno. Most people do not let the jalapenos mature to their red color, but if you do, you will find that first of all the heat is intensified, but also the flavor is intensified. And whenever the habaneros turn red, that is when people pick them to make sriracha. Both of these peppers, the Nottapino and the Habanada, are both really gaining ground in popularity, and they are both becoming so popular that it's really hard to find seeds for them right now. So I did get my seeds early, and I'm really thankful. Also, whenever you plant these and grow these, you will treat these just like you would any other pepper. They would like to have full sun. Sometimes when it starts getting into the real hot portion of summer, they may like a little shade in that hot afternoon sun. So if you can, plant them where they get mostly morning sun throughout the afternoon and maybe not quite so much hot evening sun. And last but not least, I am going to tell you about the tender sweet orange melon. And before you even think it, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking that the tender sweet orange is the craziest looking watermelon you've ever seen, and it has to be a hybrid. But you know what? The tender sweet orange is not a hybrid. It is an heirloom, which really shocked me. So it's an heirloom that has actually been around longer than the pink variety of watermelon. It is actually sweeter than the pink, and I don't know if maybe that's why the pink became more not familiar, but more popular. Maybe people desired that color more, but I think the orange is more beautiful. So I tried to grow this one last year, and it did not work out. I had cucumber beetles that came and pretty much wiped out all of my melons. I got some melons, but the tender sweet orange was not one of them. So I am locked and loaded again. I'm ready to take on the beetles this year. I've got some insect covers that I'm going to try to use. I try not to use chemicals on my plants. I try to be as organic as I possibly can. I do not like to put stuff on my plants. So this watermelon you treat just like you would any other watermelon when you grow it. As a matter of fact, the outside of it, the rind, looks just like a regular watermelon. You cannot tell the difference until you go to cut into it. Whenever you slice it, then you will see the difference, because it is a brilliant, beautiful orange color that really reminds me, I guess, of an orange creamsicle or the orange slushies that my kids used to drink whenever they were young. So I'm excited to grow all of these. I have not tried any of these. I've not tried the tender sweet orange watermelon. I have not tried the Habanada or the Nottapino. Let me show you a picture of those. So this is the Habanada, and you can see it just looks like a regular pepper. I have 4 of these. One of them is just now coming up. I don't know why it's so slow. And this is the Nottapino. So you can see it really looks just like a regular pepper. So here is the watermelon, the tender sweet orange. I can't really get that turned in a way that you can see it very well. There it is. So I have them started in peat pots because they do not like their roots disturbed very much. So hopefully I'll be able to get these out in the next few days. We're having another cold snap for over the next couple days. Tonight and tomorrow night I think are supposed to be pretty chilly, so I'm going to wait before I put these out. So that is it for Feature Friday. I hope you all have learned something that you did not already know. I know I sure do. Every time I look up these plants, I learn something new. And I love growing the stuff that you cannot buy in the grocery store. You will probably not find any of these things in the grocery store, at least not right now. There may be some point in time whenever the grocery stores start picking up some of these rare fruits and vegetables that you can't get from farmers in this area, but individual growers certainly do grow them. And I'll mention this one more time. Baker Creek is where I get a lot of my seeds, and their website is called rareseeds.com, and they call it that for a reason, obviously, because you can get seeds there that you really can't get anywhere else, and they have such a large variety of wonderful plants that you have never heard of, never seen, but you can absolutely grow them in this area. There's so many things that you can grow here that you would never dream of being able to grow. Anyway, I thank you all for joining me for Feature Friday. I hope you all have a wonderful night. God bless.